My study is comparing the effects of functional communication sharing with and without extinction on manding and screaming. The participant of this study is being used under the pseudonym Scarlett, and she is a 6-year-old female, and she was diagnosed with autism at age 3, and she has been receiving ABA services ever since then. And this is an important skill for her to learn because functional communication and manding is a very important key in communicating. She's able to use 3-word phrases, but she does require object or verbal prompts. She doesn't have a very strong repertoire for manding for missing items. This project is important as well because screaming behavior can cause disruptions with her learning and with other students learning and with her self-advocacy and just promoting overall independence. Manding is also important to learn. That way they're able to make requests and make sure that their wants and their needs are being met. um, this project took place in the center's mock classroom with other 5 other children who were diagnosed with autism as well, and they also engage in problem behaviors like flopping, screaming, SIB, and so anytime a loud noise would emit, Scarlett would immediately cover her ears. 3 sessions were conducted per day, and they were lasted about 30 minutes each. There was a 10 a.m., a 1 p.m., and a 3 p.m. And during the follow up was the only time that the sessions were taking data over 1 session per day. Um, the method that we used was an alternating treatment design. This was just used overall because it helps compare 2 different treatments to figure out what is the best treatment for that to decrease the wanted behavior. The technicians were all given a data sheet that had a space for them to fill out the date, the time, uh, the frequency count for the screaming and the manding per session. I was able to sit within each session and also count frequency for all the mandings that were being prompted or that were independent. During the baseline, during the baseline, um, sorry, phase condition, Scarlett was seated in the mock classroom with 5 other students and 2 technicians, a lead and a shadow. And when a loud noise would occur, Scarlett was admitted covering her ears. She was not provided access to her headphones at first and until seeing the headphones. In the first intervention was functional communication with extinction on the screaming. This was where Scarlett would be begin each session without access to her headphones, and when a loud noise would occur and she would cover her ears, the technician would use least to most prompting to get her to use man for her headphones. And so if she would engage in screaming, the prompting would not happen and the technician would remain calm and not give a reaction, not a physical reaction or a facial expression whenever she was screaming. And then when screaming would stop, then they would prompt her using the least to most prompting for her demand for her headphones. In the second uh, condition, she also began the same way without access to her headphones. And this was where extinction was not placed on screaming. So during this phase, if she engaged in screaming, the technician would still respond calmly, but still prompt her using least to most prompting for her to man for her headphones. Um, with that, we can see a much slower rate of manding and the decrease in her screaming, just because it was delivered even if the screaming was occurred. During the baseline, we can see that it was pretty stable, and that with the extinction, it showed higher and consistent increase in manding than without extinction. And then whenever we look at the graph for the screaming, we can see that there was a rapid decrease almost to zero whenever we followed up with her screaming. So the results show that functional communication was more effective overall. Some limitations in this study was just that there was a short follow-up phase, so there really wasn't much time to see if that behavior was maintaining, as well as it was conducted in a very much controlled environment. So just maybe conducting it in a more natural classroom setting and applying for future practice would be that functional communication has been proven and continues to show that when it's paired with extinction, it will ultimately decrease the targeted behavior, and as well as teaching Manding in a mock classroom to help generalize with different school settings.